I want to show you how I resin canvases. This triptych, I got another little one to do as well. I painted this about a year ago. Painted with acrylic. I've put some, cut out some dolphins with my silhouette portrait and stuck it on because I thought it needed something. It was a little bit boring. Anyway, some folks have bought it, but they want me to resin the canvases. So it's already varnished. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I am going to resin them. So I had to retape them and put my little push pins on, keep them elevated. So yeah, I'm going to resin those. I think it'll be nice. So I'm using Magic Resin. I use that all the time. Been using it for about 3 years. It's great. It works really good. This is the tabletop resin as opposed to the deep casting. So just two different kinds. Kind of a story in and of itself. But for this, I'm going to use the tabletop resin. What I do with my resin, it's a two-part resin, part A and B, that you mix 50-50. And what I do is I measure out equal amounts of the two parts, and I set them in a hot water bath just for about 15 minutes or so. That helps a lot with the bubbles. You'll see the bubbles raising to the top. So I do that, and then I carefully take them out of the water. The other thing I did, because these paintings, you know, they've been around for a while, I just, about an hour ago, I just kind of wiped them off with a baby wipe just to get any dust off, so that should be good. So carefully take this out of the water. You don't want to get any water drips in your resin. Now wipe off the bottoms. Wipe off the bottom so that there's no water drips anywhere. And then I take the thinner resin. The two parts are different consistencies. The resin itself is quite thick and syrupy, whereas the hardener is quite light. So what I do is I pour, I can put that, you know what I'm going to do? No, I can't do that. I just want you to be able to see. I've got a larger container that's got no ridges in it. So I pour the thinner resin in first. You don't want to pour it too fast because you don't want to create bubbles. Bubbles are not your friend. So that's that. And then I'll pour in the thicker resin. I'm just going to pour it down the side so I don't make too many bubbles. It's going to be some, but they'll be pretty easy to get out with the torch because I'm not going to be doing a super thick coating of resin on these. And get it all out. And then you mix slowly. It's best to use a plastic utensil because wood, you can use the wood like tongue depressor or popsicle sticks. I use that sometimes, but it's best to use plastic because the wood can actually emit some little bubbles. So it's all about fighting the bubbles. So I'm going to stir this slowly. I keep scraping the sides, scrape the bottom for about 4 minutes. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so we're all mixed up. So a few things I forgot to mention, important things. Wear gloves. I forgot to put mine on, had to go put them on. And with resin, follow the instructions in terms of what you need and ventilation. I'm in a great big room with high ceilings, so I don't need a respirator. Respirator, yeah. But if you are in a small area, then you definitely want to wear one of those. Okay, and I think that was it. So what I do is I just pour it on. I'm going to pour it all at once because I don't want to leave the resin sitting in this container for very long because it will cure on you if it's sitting in the container. So especially when it's warm out like it is now. And what I do is I just spread it with my hands. I find that's the easiest thing because I don't want a super thick coating on it. It's kind of a waste of resin to put really thick coats on your canvases because it doesn't really, plus, you know, it makes it heavier and more likely to sag in the middle. And these canvases are 10 by 20, so they're not too big. Resining large canvases is tricky because it'll sag. The weight of the resin will make it sag, so you have to kind of shore it up with some cardboard at the back and do different things. I tend to shy away from resining the large canvases. So I'm just going to spread it around, go around the sides, make sure it's all covered. You want to make sure your table is level. That's important because your resin will all run to, it's liquid, so it'll run to the low, like water, it'll run to the lowest part. So you want to, pardon me, make sure your table is level. And just go around, make sure we got all the edges. And you can tell just by the feel if you've got it all done, if you've got it all covered on the edges. And then, you know, you'll get to know the feel of it. There we go. It's pretty good. I'll just do one more wipe through. Make sure I got it pretty even. It is self-leveling, so it's gonna spread itself out nice and smooth. Ooh, they look nice. Resin really makes the picture pop. I'm gonna do this from over here really quick. I don't think you can see, but better do it quick before my resin sets on in a great big blob in the middle. With the summer, warmer weather, the resin definitely does cure quicker. I found that you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference because, you know, the room temperature doesn't change that much because I have air conditioning and that, but it does seem to be making a difference, the temperature. So if you're in a warm garage or something like that, if it's hot, just be prepared that you're going to have to boogie a little bit. This was one of my favorite paintings. I didn't want to sell it, but the same people, they bought a lot of art from me, so they really liked this one and they wanted it, so I said, okay, for you, I will sell it. It was one of my first pours, and I just loved it. Anyway, I'll try and make another one. Oops, get rid of that cloth. Okay, so they're all nicely covered. I'll check the edges one more time on this one. Oh, I forgot to sign this one. I'll sign the back. I'm terrible at that. I always forget. So I can take my gloves off now because I'm done touching the resin. And I'm going to torch them. So I'm just going to lightly, don't get too close, no more than like 3 or 4 inches away. And when you do that, you may not see it on the camera there, but you can see any bubbles that there are popping. There's always a little bit of bubbles. Here we go. So we'll go over and do that, and then I'm going to show you what I do. I'll be doing this probably every 10 minutes for, well, every 10 or 15 minutes for about an hour or two, just to catch any bubbles that come to the surface, to pop them. And then I get a toothpick, and I'm just going to go around and kind of look on an angle to the light and see if there's any little, sometimes you can pop some bubbles, but make sure there's no little hairs or dust bubbles that have landed on it. Looks pretty good. There's a few little bubbles, but I'll be popping those. What's that? Yeah, there's a tiny little bit of fluff there, probably from my baby wipe. Get that off. you can see if, with the light reflection, light is important when you're doing this, really important, because that's what's going to allow you to see if there are any things that have landed on it, any hairs or chunks of resin or something, anything that's landed on it. So it looks pretty good. What's that? That's just a paint, that's paint that's in the painting. Yeah, so that's that. So I'm going to go, like I said, and check on it every 10-15 minutes or so, and then we'll come back tomorrow morning and we'll have a finished product. We'll take off the tape and everything and it'll be all done. How easy is that? So here we are the next morning. They're all nice and cured. So they turn out pretty good. There's always a few minor imperfections that I'm sure 99.9% of people would never see. Sometimes doesn't quite, well, it's covered, the edge is covered, but you know, it's not quite even. And you know what? Honestly, I could re-resin them, but there would just be different imperfections. So I've learned to live with minor imperfections that no one ever sees but me. I don't like it, but you can drive yourself crazy trying to get every tiny little flaw out. So they look pretty darn good. So I'm gonna go with that. So the thing to do next is you want to take off the tape. You gotta be a little bit careful doing this. I kind of peel it up off the canvas. The thing you don't want to do is peel it off that way because you will peel off the resin. So you kind of have to peel it against the grain, and sometimes you'll get a little sticky wicket and you got to fuss with a little bit. Just be careful. Kind of peel it towards you, not that way, because it will peel the resin right up. But this system works pretty good. There we go. I'm just going to go around just like that. A lot easier than trying to get those drips off the canvas. It's pretty disastrous. You end up ripping the canvas. So this way you get a nice clean edge. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that. And the other thing, I thought I did these yesterday as well. I'll just show you really quickly. How can I do this? I don't want to make everybody car sick, but it's basically, I'm just going to spin that around and see if that works. My other table. I'm coming around. I'm coming around. You see these? Yeah, these are tiles. This is a, these are like 12 by 24 tiles that I resin basically the same way. There's a video on me painting these if you want to see how. These are table runners I did for my daughter. I did her a painting that's similar to this, and she kind of has done her dining room theme around it. So I painted these tiles and I resined them essentially the same way. So I'll put, got tape on the back, take that off. I'll put some felt on the bottom of it so that she can put it on her dining room table. And she wanted 2 of them. Yeah, I never thought of that. She could put them this way too. I think it's a long table, so I think she's going to put them end to end, but you could do it that way too. And then I just made her a set of coasters. Again, I see tiny flaws on them, little piece of dust or something. I could sand them all and re-resin them. Then I just have a different piece of dust on it. No one's going to see it but me, so so I'm gonna go with it anyway. So there you go. It's not that hard. You can't be too crazy fussy because you will go even crazier, but no, it's pretty easy. And then you've got a really nice shiny seal on it that, I mean, they can, you know, splash water on it. It's not going to hurt it. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. And there they are, all ready for their new home. Whoa, a lot of reflections. Yeah, that resin coating, yeah, you know, makes them kind of pop a little. Cool.